Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Hudson, New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. You want to give a gift for Christmas, you give Wisdom of the Sages. How do you do that? You just tell somebody about it. You tell somebody who needs a little. There's nothing you can buy them that will fulfill them. So you take a screenshot and you somehow wrap that up. How can you wrap up a screenshot? Maybe give them a business card. I don't know. But you got to figure out a way to give them Wisdom of the Sages. Say, hey, I've enrolled you. Oh, you can enroll them in Patreon. I've enrolled you in Patreon for a podcast that I think you're going to love. We got to give this stuff away. This stuff grows organically. And Kastuba sent me a message yesterday that we were, what, number one in...
Oh, I just shared with you... yesterday what I shared with you was like our rankings in terms of individual podcast episodes.
Okay. What was that?
And that was under the category of Hinduism in the United States.
Okay.
So number one, you had Ram Dass with
Ram Dass.
Here We All Are, part 1.
Okay, Ram Dass. Remember, it's not a competition. Good for Ram Dass.
We were
Big
number
deal.
2.
I'm gonna take him down.
We were number 2 with Transformation Starts With One Good Choice.
Okay.
Then you had Krishna Das coming in at number 3.
Okay.
You
Krishna Das, a dark horse coming from behind, and it's Krishna Das.
Then you had Ram Dass with slots 4 and 5 and 6. And then we were number 7 with Q&A volume 144. And
Okay.
Ram Dass, I mean, he's dominating. He had 8, 9, and 10.
And he's not even alive anymore.
I know. And we had
Pretty
11 and
good.
12. We had 11
I'm
and
working
12.
my ass off.
And then coming in at 13 was Sadhguru. So like we got 4 ahead of Sadhguru.
It's not a competition, but it is. But it is.
Anyway, so we're ranking there. That's in the
that's good,
Hinduism category.
That's good for the Bhagavatam and Vyasadeva. Yes.
And then the day before I sent you where we're ranking. We're commonly
all
number
religions,
2
right? With all religions.
Well, no. We're commonly number 2.
Wisdom of the Sages is above Islam and Christianity.
We're commonly number 2 in the United States for Hinduism. That's generally where we're at. Ram Dass is like he's untouchable, and number 2 in Great Britain as well in Hinduism. But then the question is, do we rank in like religion and spirituality? That's
That's a
once
big
you
one.
Open
That's the
that
bigger
up,
category. Where
it's
do
a
we
huge
rank
category
there?
because you got tons of Christian.
Joel Osteen, that guy.
Yeah,
is
you got
huge.
all that kind of stuff. So on this day, which was 2 days ago, we were ranking 195 in Canada in religion and spirituality.
Interesting.
And we were ranking 58 in Australia in religion and spirituality. So, we're number
Very
2
interesting.
in Hinduism in Canada. So anyway, those are just some of the things.
Okay, I'm going after Joel Osteen and Ram Dass. I got a feeling I like Joel Osteen.
All right, let's keep this going, Rugger.
That guy's got a private jet.
Okay. Are there any announcements, Mara?
Yes, there are. Let's see. We have a Bhakti recovery group meeting at noon today.
Okay.
Tomorrow, Josh Kane is offering an asana class for our Patreon members at 10:30 a.m.
Josh Kane, he's
Okay.
good.
He is good. Our show tomorrow is going to be back to 6 a.m.
That's right.
And then just don't forget there's a coupon code for 10% off at Happy Girl Kitchen
That's right.
for jams and jellies from Jamuna Jelly. And that,
Jamuna Jam.
yeah, the code is wisdom.
The code is wisdom, and that is if you want to get the Wisdom of the Sages jelly gift box.
Give
That's
it.
what it is. You get some prasadam,
Some books.
gourmet jam, and you get some books, and you get a little card,
It's
and
a
you
gift.
give
You give it as a gift to
you,
someone.
you give it and you get a little stick of incense there, and you give it away. And yes, it's sort of sweet, and we're happy she was on the show yesterday.
Otherwise, sign up for Sage groups. Still open, but filling up.
And the people who have signed up haven't heard back until
Yeah,
like
they're
they
gonna
won't
hear
hear back
back.
until everything's complete, right?
Yeah, they'll
Just-
hear back sometime near Christmas around that time.
Yeah, you'll hear back that you didn't get in. Do they
No,
all?
no.
If they didn't, have they all gotten in?
Yeah, the
Still
question
matter.
is because the groups are small, so like a lot of people may want to be in the same group. Not everybody's going to get in the same group. But once we hit a certain point, we're going to begin to get everybody in their groups, and then if we see there's a lot of people that don't have a group at a certain time, we might try to create some new groups to facilitate them.
Got it.
Ultimately, we'll try to get everybody in.
Got it.
But the sooner you sign up, the higher you are on the list of priority to get into the group that you want to get into. That's why you don't wait.
Got it. All right, my friend. Are you ready for a little
And
nugget
one last
today?
thing. I will be colluding with Zeb and we'll be in Pittsburgh
Ooh,
tomorrow
the
night.
collusion.
Tomorrow night. Come see
And
me at the
rumors
Yoga
about that
Factory in
collusion.
Pittsburgh. You go to yogafactory.com and you can find some.
Go hang out with
info
Kostuba. He's a wise
Actually,
man. And Zeb's a wise man. I
You
want
can
to
go-
actually go, but it's far.
You can go to my Instagram page and go to the link in the bio for info on that too.
All right. Everybody better be following Kostuba on Instagram.
Now you got a
All
nugget
right.
for us?
I got a nugget for you, and it's from one of my favorites. I'm
Herbert?
serious. I used to read her as a child, as like a sixth
Like
grader
on the daily? That was like a thing every day?
on the newspaper.
I
Ann
know, but,
Lander.
like, every
Ann
day?
Landers.
Ann
Huh?
Landers. Every day did you read it? Were you
I
like
read her
that
every
kinda-
day.
All right.
Ann Landers.
You must have learned a lot about life.
I did. That's how that's yes. And her
I think you have to
sister-
tell
did
people
you know
who-
this trivia question was? Ann Landers was a person you'd write in with a problem in your life. Oh, my husband is having an affair, or my child has started smoking cigarettes. What do I do? Or
Or things like, we went over to our friends for dinner last Friday night, and they said this, and we really didn't know if that, things
how we
like
should
that. right?
react. Or
Yeah.
yeah. So this is Ann Lander, and she had a sister named Dear Abby.
They were both had columns in like, their columns were running like all the newspapers.
They were
right?
syndicated columns.
syndicated
that-
columns, and they would either have one or the other. They would either have Dear Abby or they'd have Ann Landers.
Yeah. So okay, there was a time when we used to read newspapers on the every day. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Some people. This is Ann Landers.
Yeah.
Some people believe holding on and hanging in there
Yeah.
are the signs of great strength.
Okay.
However, there are times when it takes much more strength to know when to let go, and then do it.
You
That
find that to be
is
true?
Are you kidding? That is my meditation lately. Because sometimes there are people that are meant to be with you in different seasons of life, and they're not meant to be with you forever. They come to you and they give you something. Because
Are you
sometimes
letting me
we feel
go
like,
right now, Raghunath?
What's that? I'm
Hey,
letting-
Kostuba, our
Kostuba,
time has
I
come.
love you, but it's over.
That'd be good for ratings.
That'd be good.
Just like
We're doing this just for the joke. You're fired.
The breakup show.
apologize.
The letting go show.
The forgiving show. Please forgive me for firing you publicly. You can't fire me. You're fired.
Okay, but no, sure, go on.
We could both fire Mara.
Raghu. Okay, so
All right. So anyway,
seasons of life. You're saying
there's certain people. Sometimes we're expecting, hey, this person's going to be with me forever, but they're sort of like, a rocket ship has these boosters,
Yeah.
And the boosters are meant to lift you to a certain place, and then they just fall away because they can't handle the altitude of where the ship is going. There's certain people in our lives that cannot handle the heights that we are meant to climb.
Okay.
And then so they meant to fall away. We shouldn't get down on, and sometimes we feel like, well, they failed me. They didn't fail me. We needed them. We
Well,
needed them for a specific something or other.
What about this, Raghunath?
What's that?
I'm with you there, but what about letting go of someone so that they can climb to their heights?
They have to find their own thing.
No, but what I'm saying is, in other words, sometimes we need to let go. Not that they're holding us down. Maybe we're holding them down.
Maybe well, it usually works that way in conjunction with each other. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We are each other's poison / savior, medicine / bitterness. But oftentimes the memory of them can easily be bitter. Like, why weren't they there? Why did this happen? Or, oh, I suffered so much in this period. No, that was exactly perfect. It was exactly perfect. And to the degree that I'm bitter, I never really 100% learned from it. And I'm not seeing God's beautiful hand in it.
Yeah.
But they carried me somewhere.
Well, I'm thinking it also in terms of, as a yogi, right? That we tend to be attached. We're attached to not only like the pleasures in life, but we're also attached to the roles that we play and the identity that we adopt in relation to the responsibilities that we take, right?
Yeah.
Like someone may be, like you talk often about being a mother or father, and you kind of want, when they're young, you're controlling their entire life.
Let me comment on this, please. Got a good one for you.
Go ahead.
Ready? Cindy Lunsford sent me this thing on Instagram from this comedian because she likes comedians. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny and so devastating that I had to share it with everybody. I think I shared it with you.
Share it.
The guy said, I can't remember who it is, so forgive me. But the guy said, some people call parenting's a full-time job, but I don't like to call it a job because, imagine applying for that job. Well, what does this job pay? Nothing. Actually, you'll be paying. How much? Well, how much do I have to pay for this job? Thousands and thousands of dollars for this 24. He goes, but I must get something in return. I must get something that's a full-time job. It's a dirty job. Yeah. What do I get in return? You get love for 12 years.
It all changes.
And then you get nothing. Then it gets all withheld. And then they love you when they need something. That's what you're getting. And I was just thinking oh, there's so much damn truth in this. And there's so much damn sadness and bitterness in this. And it's not all the time, of course, but I've had that experience sort of with my older kids. It's I'm not connected with those older kids, and my younger kids are still at the loving age right now. But I'm preparing my mind that they can just pull back at any moment. It's not their fault. It's a hormonal thing. I did it. I had a mission by the time I was 16 years old, and I just pulled it in and went my own way. And for me to be bitter about it is not a horrible thing. For me to be bitter about it, it's actually, I'm never learning the lessons that have been set out for me. The kids gave me something to grow with. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy to be, that empty nest thing is real. Watching your kids go on and make their own lives is real. And I know in my life, and Mara was admitting this too, because I had a little breakdown with her yesterday. Our parents, Papa Tony and my mom, they're both in a healthy way detached.
Papa Tony and your mother.
Papa Tony and my mom are together. They're in love. My mom's too old for her. But they're in a healthy way, sort of detached, But they were incredibly attached to my older sisters. But by the time I came around, we had 7 kids, so I was 6 out of 7. By the time I came around, they were like, "Do as you like, Ray. Do as you like." There was
Mm.
no control whatsoever. So there's this idea that we can control and direct, but the universe gives you the lessons anyway. And the Bhagavatam is just helping you sort through them so you're not bitter from all the lessons the universe gives you.
Well, it's interesting that the way that Ann Landers phrases it. However, there are times when it takes much more strength, right? Strength to know when to let go, and then to actually let go, right? Like, and so what is that strength? If we think that my happiness is dependent on my relationship with this child, and I am the parent, so therefore I'm just getting, I can't let go, and I can't realize that they're going to live their own life, and they're, as you're saying, they're going to have their hormonal, psychological changes. It's going to come, right? Let them, to let them live their life, and the strength that it takes is, I'm okay, right? Like, I have a spiritual connection. I am Satchidananda by nature. Let me turn to that. Let me, let that arise in me, rather than trying to derive it from another human being and then trying to control their life so that I can get what I think I need.
Ooh.
But we see repeatedly, and we're going to read about it today, Raghunath. We're going to read about it today. Narada's been speaking to the king, and the king is, what's he going to do? He's going to let it go. Right? He's going to say, okay, I'm walking away. I got this power. I've got this influence. I've got this fame. Like for these athletes, they say that it's really hard for them to retire. They keep playing even though they're not doing good anymore, and people are booing them,
right?
And they can't let it go. Yeah, because that feeling of like having thousands of people just like, and they're thinking, hey, you're not starting me anymore. Actually, it's funny. I wasn't even thinking about it, but now I just noticed that it's like one of the most famous soccer players, football players in the world.
Pele?
Well, that was a long time ago, but this guy Ronaldo, right?
Oh yeah,
I think
Sega's on this. What
Sega knows the deal. Yeah. So
what's the deal with Ronaldo?
That he's like one of the best of ever, and now he's playing in the World Cup, and I think he's on the bench, right? They put him on the bench, and then the guy came in to replace him, and the guy got a hat trick in the game, right? Like, he scored 3 goals.
Ooh.
So you imagine what that feels like, is like, I'm being replaced, like my role, and they're thinking, you need me out on that, coach, you need me out there, right? And the coach is like, you know what? I don't.
We don't need you.
We don't need you. Yeah, and but we're trying to hang on, and the mind becomes so disturbed, so full of these kind of thoughts, that we can never take it where it needs to go for our transformation. But we see again and again, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, again, it's a repeated theme: the king letting go, right? The king walking away from fame, wealth, power, influence, all of that, saying, it's time. The time has come for me to let it go. Because I have a higher yoga goal in mind, I'm going to let it go.
There's certain seasons in life where we're in it, and we have to be ready to just transition. And I really believe that the Bhagavatam is assisting me in my life to transition through all the different seasons that are coming, and they're a little less prickly.
Yeah,
a little less prickly.
Yeah. All right. So shall we hear about King Parini Barhisha? He's going to let it go.
Let's just speak of these real Rajasic, like sports or activities,
political leaders.
No. I'm thinking like sports that are really like, they just beat the crap out of your body. These people are doing, people are doing now with like motorcycle flips in the air and like bicycle things down massive ramps, and it's like, there's pay. You got to pay for that stuff. It's not like you just become perfect overnight. They pay for it. They fall, they break bones. Everybody's Evel Knievel is nothing anymore. People are doing like flipping
Evel
their
Knievel
motorcycle.
Broke nearly every bone in his
he
body.
Broke every bone in his body.
Maybe what he's doing. Yeah, like they do more stuff than he does now.
Crazier stuff. Yeah. But and they pay for it. And so like the retirement window is very little. Even just like a Muay Thai fighter, they start when they're like 12 and they retire when they're 20.
All right.
Think about that.
Think about
that. All right.
Ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do this.
Chant those mantras, right?
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Where are we at?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 80.
We're going to finish the chapter today, I think.
I got a great email yesterday. You know what?
There he goes.
I'm gonna give a little.
Maybe we won't finish
I'm
the
gonna
chapter.
I'm gonna give a shout out to all the others out there. The others never get any credit, but they're out there listening on a regular basis. Fabio from Italy, Mukunda Kishore. You know, both of them. The only two others we have out there. They're people you just never see them. They never write on the board. But they're out there, and every now and then they're checking in and they're commenting and stuff like that. And I have this really nice one. Remember Brian Sincere, the straight edge kid he was like 15 years old, used to come to the temple, and then he disappeared, never saw him. And I got that letter that he started listening to Wisdom of the Sages in October, and he's got fired up back about his spiritual life, and he went through like just tough time. You know, the Grihasta ashram beatdown. Ever experienced that one, Kostuba? You never have. Sweet saintly wife. But anyway, he went through it and he came out the other side. Now he's like, I'm totally into my spiritual life. I'm asking for initiation. I'm chanting a lot. It's just like to see these people blossom coming out of the pain of material existence. We think we have a better plan than Krishna's plan. And Krishna's plan is quite ideal.
All right.
Thank you others out there for checking in with me. All right, let's do this.
Text number 80.
Mara, where's the text? Text 80. The great sage Maitreya continued. The supreme devotee, the great saint Narada, thus explained to King Prachini Barhi the constitutional position of the supreme personality of Godhead and the living entity. After giving an invitation to the king, Narada Muni left to return to Siddha Loka. That is on my bucket list of places I want to visit.
Do you know where it is?
So Siddha Loka is like almost at the top of the planetary systems.
I think it's at the very top planetary system. And Siddha Loka is no, what you said is nearly or something, right?
No,
like
you said it is the top.
It's within the highest planetary system, and it's revolving around Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka, yeah.
It's a satellite of Brahmaloka.
Mm-hmm.
And on that planet, everyone. What
Perfected
Srila
beings.
Prabhupada says? You want to read what he says? You find this kind of stuff.
Can't we just sit here and speculate?
We can read it right here.
I think it does this. I think it's this high.
Okay, hit it.
Siddha Loka and Brahmaloka are both within the same planetary system.
There you go.
Brahmaloka is understood to be the highest planet within this universe. Siddha Loka is considered to be one of the satellites of Brahmaloka.
What are the inhabitants like there, Raghunath?
In Siddha Loka? The inhabitants of Siddha Loka have all the powers of yogic mysticism.
Imagine what it's like there.
It must be unbelievable. From this verse, it appears that the great sage, what am I doing? Wasting my time dragging this body around. From this verse, it appears that great sage Narada is an inhabitant of Siddha Loka, although he travels to all the planetary systems. All the residents of Siddha Loka are spacemen, are ancient alien theorists. And they can travel in space without mechanical help.
Yep.
Isn't it interesting? We have a desire and we just can't get it. I desire this, but they have a desire and they just do it. The residents of Siddhaloka can go from one planet to another individually by virtue of their yoga perfection. After giving instructions to the great Pachini Barhi, Narada Muni departed and also invited him to Siddhaloka.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to walk away. Now let's hear about it. Text 81.
In the presence of the ministers, the saintly king Pachini Barhi left orders for his sons to protect the citizens. He then left home and went off to undergo austerities in a holy place known as Kapila Ashram.
Do you know where Kapila Ashram is?
Is it in Haridwar?
No, Kapila Ashram is actually like at the where the Ganga meets the Bay of Bengal.
Oh, that's it's called
Ganga Sagar.
Ganga Sagara,
Yeah.
where Ganga meets the sea. Holy place. That's
Yeah.
where all the crocodiles are.
So here it is, Raghunath, right? Here it is.
Mm.
He was struggling, you know, he had lived this life. He was trying to be a pious person. At the same time, he was doing, you know, his materialistic activities and feeling anxiety, suffering. He had tons. We can't imagine the responsibility a person like this has, right?
Yeah.
But a wise person sits down with him, speaks about life, you know, in depth, and says, like you're saying today, Raghunath, you know, the season has come. Time for you to walk away from it all, you know, leave it behind. I think a lot of us at that point, we think, no, but they need me, right?
Oh, that's that we think like, how is this world gonna go on when I die?
Yeah.
I got news for you. They're gonna be like, oh my God, Raghunath's dead. What's for dinner? Or it's gonna go on so quick. It's almost shocking.
Yeah.
How little the world will stop for us. That's it. It'll go on. They'll be telling jokes at our funeral. Like, you know, you want everybody to be really sad and grave and, oh, Raghunath, he's done so much. But truthfully, they're just going to start telling jokes, and they're like going to tell you, hey, did you see that? Did you hear about Ronaldo? Don't talk about Ronaldo at my funeral, okay? I'm just going to put that out there right now. No sports, no movies, no Netflix at my funeral, please. Keep it focused on Raghunath and what he's done.
Okay.
That's what we would like. No jokes. There's absolutely no. And what makes you think you're going to live longer than me?
Yeah, you know, but it is so hard, you know, because like our identity is our false identity, not our real identity, right? But our false identity is deeply attached to these roles that we play. The wiser person's recognizing that, right? They're recognizing I'm playing a role, but I am not that role. That role has nothing to do with my eternal identity. That role brings me some pleasure in life and it brings me some misery in life. It is a role. And I'm going to play it for some time. That is my temporary dharma, and I'm going to let go of it, you know, and it in pursuance of uncovering my eternal role, my eternal identity, you know. But it's you know, here we also see Raghunath, and this is the kind of thing that you and I talk a lot about and notice a lot about, but this like tension that seems to be magnified in our current age or current time, you know, the polarities. You know, and here you can argue, like, in questions like this, you can make strong arguments on either end, like the need to be responsible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than walking away from everything like some spiritual bypasser.
Sure.
Right? Or then you could say, no, the need to be spiritual. The whole world is an illusion. You're completely, you don't know anything, right?
Right.
And so is one right and the other wrong? You know, and I think maturity means to be able to recognize that, knowing when, understanding both positions and knowing how to tune that dial, right?
Right.
When to be totally responsible. There were times where this king had to step up and just do hard things that he didn't want to do in the name of justice, in the name of, you know, caring for others, whatever it might be.
He's a king. He's like,
he's a king. He's got responsibilities.
He's holding all the cards. He has tons of responsibilities.
And maybe as he's doing those things internally, he's still meditating on, although this is my role, there's something else underneath. Now I'm going to play the role externally, and internally I'm going to think about how this is just a role. It's not me. But
Right.
then there comes a time where you begin to turn that dial, and you begin to tune in more towards the here he's tuning in more to the renunciation side, right? To letting it all go, that this role has nothing to do with me, that someone else can play this role, that this role is not dependent on me, and let it go. When we were talking to Braj Bihari once, when we were having one of our meetings, he made this point, because he's expert at conflict resolution.
He's expert
Yeah.
for
And
all
so
the conflicts. I mean, the
we
stuff
got a
get
lot of
into.
them. And there are different categories of conflicts. So he says some of them are problems to be solved, right? Like something is out of whack, it needs to be adjusted, and the problem is fixed.
Yeah.
But others are polarities that are meant to be managed. Right, like there's no right or wrong, but there's something, this is an issue that will need steady attention, right? It'll need to have someone looking at it and adjusting it as we go. Right. And so if you try to fix that problem, it's not going to work. It's just going to be broken just a little bit down the line. And so I think spirituality is a lot like that. It has to do with polarities that need to be managed. The polarity between being active and responsible in the world, and on the other end, well, the world is illusory, and I'm getting lost in illusion. Let me turn away from it. Let me, that's a polarity that we need.
Well, we're studying the lives of these kings who've actually figured it out. Now's the time. It's over.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Well, what they did was they built into, us Westerners, us Americans, we don't like the idea of people regulating our lives, imposing social kind of standards on us. But there was but we're also walking around all confused like crazy, like going through midlife crises and suffering, like mad, and driving each other crazy. They had the idea, hey, you're 50 years old, you retire. That's the way it works. It's like now you start to let go. Well, who's going to take care of me? Your kids are going to take care of you because, you took care of, your parents took care of you, and now you're taking care of them. And now your kids are going to take care of you. There are these kind of things that were built into society where you kind of got it, right? Yeah. I'm in my mid 40s now, whereas like the Westerners are going through the midlife crisis. The people that had this wisdom kind of built into the culture realized, I'm supposed to be not as sexy as I was. I'm supposed to, be, physically unable to do what is able to do. That's okay.
Right.
But there's something really bright on the other end of this. Let me focus on that. Right.
Wow.
And let it go.
Wow.
Yeah. You ready to keep going? You all right?
Well, this brings up a lot of stuff.
All right. You want to talk about it? We can talk about it, Ragnar.
No, it's okay. I want eternal life in a temporary world. That's what's going on. I want eternal life in a temporary world.
Right.
I want to be ever fresh, ever young, ever thoughtful, ever attractive. It's just not happening.
Write that down, Mara. We want eternal life in a temporary world. It's not happening.
She's too busy. She's knitting.
Well, she's got to do
Your knitting won't save you at the time of death, Mara.
That's right.
Okay. Gonna be in Vrindavan knitting. Man, meditate.
Now we're gonna hear now in this next verse, Raghunath, is kind of like we've been going through chapters, right? This goes way back to when his sons, the Prachetas, walked into the water, right? And Lord Shiva came out of the water, and they went in there doing their meditation.
We gotta wrap this up.
And then, we're wrapping it up right now. Although we're gonna go next chapter, we go back to the Prachetas.
What?
Yeah. But then Narada went to the king, and the king put some questions. Narada gave this long, allegory. The king said, I don't understand it. He went through it all again. The second life, he becomes a woman. The super soul comes and speaks with him. He's gone through so much, and through that we've learned that it's not through cultivating the material things, being good and pious and enjoying things in this world that's going to satisfy one. It's not even escaping the miseries of this world. This verse right here is where it's like, it's the message of the Bhagavatam. It's given again and again and again. And we're going to hear it at the end of this story, so that we get the point.
All righty. Let's do this.
Text 82.
Having undergone austerities and penances at Kapila Ashram, King Prachini Barhi attained full liberation from all material designations.
There you go.
He constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and attained a spiritual position qualitatively equal to that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
Qualitatively.
Qualitatively. So here it is. This is presented in yogic language here. If we look at the translation, let me pull it up. So it says, just one second. So it says there, tatra, there at that place, right? He went to this great place for meditation, walked away as being king, went to this really good meditation spot. And then it says eka agra manaha, with full focused attention. That's yoga right there, like, right? Eka manaha, like one pointed focused attention. Dhirta, with sobriety. Right? Where did he focus that? Where did he focus that sober, full, concentrated attention? Govinda Charanam Bhujam.
The lotus feet of Govinda.
Right on the feet of Govinda, of Krishna, right? He said, this is where I'm going to bring my attention now. You know, for my whole life, I've had to focus my attention on so many other matters, right? I had to focus it on the kingdom. I had to focus it on my children. I had to focus it on my wife. I had to focus it on my duties and training and responsibilities, and all that was my dharma, and it had to be done. But at this point of life, you know, eka agramanaha, I can just bring my mind entirely, you know, exclusively focus my mind on God, on the root of all existence, right? And then vimukta sango, leaving behind all the material association, right? Like all of that stuff, he's free from that now, you know. And anubhajam, and now he's engaged in bhajan nonstop.
Of course, this is what we're cultivating. This is what the Wisdom of the Sages podcast has meant for us, including me, by the way, not above this. We're meant to have, how can I add bhajan to my life? How can I add focus on Govinda's lotus feet on my life? How could I still my mind from the nonsense and sort of like grab a hold of people that can lift me higher? How can that happen? So slowly we're changing our life. We're changing our association. We're changing our meditation. We're changing our priorities. We're changing what we do on our downtime. We're changing what we do on vacation. We're adding it all. And eventually, as we get older and we realize these things I was investing in anyway are all falling away, sometimes we're engaged in like even sports or activities that like at this stage of my life, that activity wouldn't be healthy. It would hurt me, or you know what I mean? At this stage of my life.
Is that why you didn't go ice skating?
Yes. At this stage of my life, like I can't eat these foods. I can't eat as much as I did. At this stage of my life, this is less appealing to me. And as the seasons of life change, then I'm starting to add things that are actually going to bring me to a different destination. And this is where we're going in our own retirement. And what it is, it's a retirement. Retirement meant in this tradition, a retirement of your worldly activities. But we have to add stuff to our life right now. And then what we're adding is going to grow and grow and grow as I get older. And therefore, getting older is actually quite beautiful. It's noble. It's attractive.
Yeah.
Quite wonderful.
There you go, Raghunath. There you go.
And it's based in like reality. It's not like riddled with lamentation and moaning.
And the last line of this verse says bhaktya tat samyatam agat, through devotion, right? Bhaktya, by pure devotion. This is the message of the Bhagavatam, right? There's different teachings on yoga, but ultimately it all leads to bhakti, and through that he achieved this qualitative equality with God. He didn't become God, but everything that's ungodly from him was like he let it all go, right? He became purified of it all the illusion, all the attachments, all the ignorance, and all that. He's free of that, and his nature, which is the same nature of God, right? Eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge. That he uncovered it all. He experienced it all through the practice of bhakti. Want to read a little commentary?
Yeah. Of 82, right?
Yeah, 82.
Yeah. The special significance of the word tut samyatam agat, which indicates that the king attained the position possessing the same status or the same form as that of the Lord.
Mhm.
This definitely proves that the personality of Godhead is always a person. In his impersonal feature, he is the rays of his transcendental body.
Divine light.
It's divine light.
Mhm.
When a living entity attains spiritual perfection, he also attains the same type of body known as Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The spiritual body never mixes with the material elements. Although in conditional life, the living entity is surrounded by material elements. Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Made of a different energy.
Right? We're of different energy, and we're associating with earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and ego.
Mhm.
Right? Name that verse, Kostuba.
What is Bhumir Apo Nala Vayu Kangmanu Budir Evacha Ahankaram Itiyame Bina Prakritirashada.
Booyah. Good job. He remains always aloof from them. Right? In other words, the living entity can be liberated from the material condition at any moment, provided that he wishes to do so. The material environment is called Maya. According to Krishna, Daivahi Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya, Daratyaya, Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante, Mayamitantarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three gunas, is very difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. That's just from the 7th chapter.
Okay.
As soon as the living entity engages in transcendental loving service of the Lord, they immediately attain freedom from all material conditions. In this material state, the living entity is on the Jiva Bhuta platform.
Okay, that's where now.
Right? But when he renders bhakti to the Lord, he is elevated to the Brahma Bhuta platform.
Mm-hmm.
On the Brahma Bhuta platform, the living entity is liberated from material bondage, and he engages in the service of the Lord. In this verse, the word dhira is sometimes read as vira.
Oh.
Interesting. Actually, there is not very much difference. The word dhira means sober, right?
Yep.
And vira means like a hero. So one who's struggling against Maya is a hero, and one who's sober enough to understand his position is a dhira. Without becoming sober or heroic, one cannot attain spiritual salvation.
Sober and heroic.
Right? And giving into the senses, giving into your Maya, giving it, right? We feel the opposite. We feel intoxicated and we feel like a loser. What have I done? What was I thinking? Oh my God, I did it again.
Yeah.
We don't want to chant those mantras.
Now, you know what comes next, Raghunath?
Text 83.
Yeah, but what text 83 and 84 and 85 consist of?
What?
These are the last verses of the chapter, and they also, what we find at the end of many chapters,
Palstuti?
Shruti.
Palshruti?
The fruit of hearing this story. We've been hearing this story for chapters now. I don't even remember when we started this whole story, right? It was months ago. Now we're going to hear hearing this, taking it in, listening attentively, taking it seriously, what the fruit of that is, what you gain from that.
What the fruit is going on here?
Hit it.
My dear Vidura, one who hears this narration concerning the understanding of the living entity's spiritual existence, as described by this great sage Narada, or who relates it to others, check, will be liberated from the bodily conception of life. Yes. Woo. That's all you got to do. You hear it, or you got to tell it to somebody.
Share it.
So if you're listening to this, you've heard it. If you're telling it to somebody, you did that.
What do you say,
You're
Raghu?
liberated
Learn
from the
it,
bodily
give
conception
it,
of life.
live it, give it. What is it?
Learn it, live it, give it.
Okay.
But I want to know when. When am I going to be liberated from the bodily conception of life? It's like thousands of lifetimes.
Now we're going to hear more detail about exactly what happens when you hear this attentively in this fruit.
This narration spoken by the great sage Narada is full of transcendental fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, this narration, when described, certainly sanctifies the material world.
Okay.
Nice.
So it liberates one from the subtle body. It sanctifies the material world. You want to sanctify the dirty world we're living in?
Yeah.
Let's
I
talk
do.
more about this kind of stuff.
Okay. It purifies the heart of the living entity.
Purifies.
Check. That's good. A good thing. And it helps him attain his spiritual identity.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It says liberates one. Mukta samasta bandha.
Helps us attain our spiritual identity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It elevates one to the spiritual world. Adhigachati
This is
parameshtyam.
superfoods for the ears.
And there's still more, Raghunath.
One who relates this transcendental narration will be liberated from all material bondage. One who relates this transcendental, what does that mean? One who relates this.
When you share it with someone.
Oh, well, we did that. We'll be
In between a lot of other nonsense.
We'll be liberated. I get liberated, but then I start talking some nonsense squirrel, and it just takes me back.
Yeah,
One who relates this transcendental narration will be liberated from material bondage and will no longer have to wander within this material world. Don't you feel that's what I felt? We're wandering around New York City, just wandering. Kostuba's gonna be wandering around Pittsburgh with Zeb, just looking around. How to enjoy this city?
We're going there to serve, Raghunath.
Are you?
Are you though?
Are you really?
Raghunath and I have discovered this magic formula for casting doubt on anything. It doesn't require.
It's like a shame. It's two words that are the most shameful words you could do.
Really?
It can be. It could be a few. Is it? Is it? Or are you? Is it really?
It requires no knowledge, no research, no
research.
counter argument whatsoever.
You can't counter argument. You're like, hey, I'm teaching a work for a 7-hour workshop on Bhakti in Pittsburgh.
Are you?
Are you? It's gonna be really
Yes.
great. So many people are coming. Are they? Is it really? The most shaming 2 words you can ever say to someone. Is it? Okay.
Okay, so now let's finish this up here, Raghunath. Text 85.
The allegory of King Puranjana described herein, according to authority, was heard by me from my spiritual master, and it is full of spiritual knowledge. If one, you really feel like you're falling right into disciplic succession here, right?
Yeah.
If one can understand the purpose of this allegory, he will certainly be relieved from the bodily conception of life and will clearly understand life after death. Okay. Although one may not understand what transmigration of the soul actually is, one can fully understand it by studying this narration.
Okay, there you go.
There we go. A desire to
No,
maintain...
well, now hold it. No, that was actually the last verse in the chapter. But there's one scholar, one sage named Vijaya
alien theorist,
Vijayadhwaj Tirtha from the Madhvacharya Sampradaya.
Yeah.
And he said that actually there's a couple other verses that have been left out commonly.
Really?
And so these next verses that you have here, they're meant to fall in at a different place, like earlier in the chapter.
Do they make any sense if we read them now?
Well, why don't we read the last one that's given there? Because I think it's a powerful one, the 29.2b. The very last one.
Everything happening within time, which consists of past, present, and future, is merely a dream. That is the secret understanding in all Vedic literature.
A secret understanding in all Vedic literature.
Get away from me, dream woman!
But that's key right there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you phrase it that way, this is this. What if someone were to ask, what is the secret understanding of all Vedic literature? Is that everything happening within time, anything that is born and dies, anything that's one way at one point and is a different thing at another point, that's all dreamlike, right? And we talked about that yesterday. Remember when we heard a little bit from the spiritual scientist?
Sure.
And he was saying that, you know, the things. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Sometimes my computer kind of is freezing out of me right now. Here we go.
That's a squirrel for you.
No squirrel now. We're gonna. That's here. This again from
No
the
squirrel. 8:58. You guys are like ping and pong.
From the spiritual scientist. He said, Gita wisdom explains that we are eternal souls on a multi-life journey of spiritual evolution.
Yeah.
Whatever appears real and consequential to us during this life will in our next life become inconsequential and even unrecallable.
Unrecallable. That's
There's
true, man.
most of the stuff from this life we can't even recall, right? Because consequential things in our present experience turn inconsequential
In a moment.
with the
In a
passage
moment.
of time, yeah, as they do in a dream, we can be said to be in a dream, right now.
I've been writing down my dreams every time I wake up now. And
Yeah.
sometimes, and I've had very colorful dreams. And sometimes I'll wake up and I was like, I can't even remember it. I was just there from the dream. That's life, man. That is life. It's like, I don't even remember. I was walking around New York City thinking, oh, I did this with my kids here. I used to take my kids when they were little here. And I was thinking to myself, they will never remember. They'll not remember any of this. I used to take them out for this and do this. They won't remember any of it. Then I start thinking, why did I even do it? Then I become depressed.
Then you go to the Italian restaurant. Then you order.
See, my
order
mind goes
your,
right to, well, if it's all a dream, why can't I become a criminal or a crazed man?
Well, then you go
right?
deeper and deeper into the dream.
Yeah,
and
that's
the dream
what
gets
happens.
Scarier.
Don't think
Yeah.
there's no way out of this like that.
There's only one way out of
The
it.
only reason why there are ethics and morality, etc., because those behaviors help assist you to escape the dream.
There you go.
You can't beat it. Well, it's a dream, so I'm just going to take, I'm going to kill, I'm going to steal. No, that keeps you locked into the nightmare. It becomes a nightmare.
There you go. Okay. Mara.
I was doing that for our criminal contingents.
Thank you. Okay. For any
They're
criminals
like,
out
"Oh,
there,
it's a dream,
take
huh?"
note.
What do you got? Mara's got a lot of notes
I
here.
do have a lot today.
All right. I apologize for calling you a
Knitter.
knitter.
And a dream woman.
A dream woman.
Only in Bhagavatam class is that an offense? Where would I be offended by being called that?
Yeah. Outside the Bhagavatam, you're my dream woman. In the Bhagavatam class, dream woman,
It's
get
the
out
worst
of
thing you
here.
could be. You're dreamy, Mara.
You're an apparition.
All right. It takes great strength to retire and let go.
Okay, a little closer to the mic, Mara. A little closer.
That was
Okay.
boring, but yes.
Bhagavatam is tempering our bitterness from the universe's lessons.
I said that yesterday.
Yeah.
Did I say it today?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that again. Read that again.
Let's say
Bhagavatam
it's-
is tempering our bitterness from the universe's lessons.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We think we have a better plan, but Krishna's plan is ideal.
All right.
Yeah.
We want eternal life in a temporary world.
Then work.
Add focus and bhajan to our life to make aging beautiful.
Okay.
Make age spots beautiful.
We need to be sober and heroic to attain spiritual salvation.
Rather than a loser, a drunken loser.
Drunken loser. Hare Krishna.
Listen to Bhagavatam to be purified, sanctified, elevated, and liberated.
It's like a song. Elevated and liberated and ask me sophisticated and a Bhagavatam.
I thought that we might make it through all the takeaways without a song, but
That's no.
Got
come on.
lucky.
Wow, you didn't really think that.
everything within time is a dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Knitting won't save me at the time of death.
You could try.
You might.
Evil Knievel is nothing anymore.
Oh,
Nothing.
no. Look what Mathura Nanda is doing.
And, oh, no.
Oh, Mathura Nanda.
Don't talk about Ronaldo at Raghu's funeral.
Don't do it.
Oh. So a lot of you others out there thinking, what is Raghunath moaning about? Well, Road Rage, being the graphic artist and visionary that he is, he took a classic picture of me and Kastuba. Beautiful
That was
picture
in
of us in Cartagena,
Cartagena.
and he did some
Just threw it in the background.
old man filter on our faces.
Did he?
And that, you think that's
Let me
us
blow this
now?
up. Let me blow it up. I thought it was, but I'm only seeing the little thing without my glasses on.
No, you're an old mess.
I think that's me. I think that's just me right now.
No, I think
That's
that
not me?
my beard was that white, but wasn't it? Or maybe he made it whiter. Did you make my beard whiter, or is it that white?
He made
It is that white.
It is
Okay.
that way.
You put
No, no.
No,
he
he made it
oh, you
whiter.
made it whiter. Okay, okay. Anyway, that's us. Can you guys all see that picture?
All right, it's not too far off. You know,
Oh, I got to spotlight it. Let me spotlight this for you.
you didn't have to do
people.
too much.
I pinned it. Here we go. Here we go. Right here.
Why don't you do yourself and put it up there?
Yeah, why don't you do
Road
yourself,
race.
Mature Nunde, oh pretty boy?